So how did corporate India look at the budget? What's the verdict from them? Well, most of them liked it, but at the same time, the expectations were so low that they were happy that there was not a lot of negative in the budget. Our panel is still with us. Let's take a quick look at companies, and they say that they were planning fresh investments within this year. So despite the negative news, they are very confident, and if you look at it, they are saying they're going to be expanding not in the medium term, but right now, within the next 12 months, 42% feel that they would be putting in fresh investments despite the high cost of credit, which has been a bane for corporate India. And also very interesting fact is that they want to expand both in India and they want to expand globally as well. It's not just that they want to be only in India and outside. Anil, I want to come to you on this first. Very interesting that despite all the negative news, they are very bullish. So what is driving this confidence in your view?
See, these figures are pretty consistent. There's a momentum in the economy right now, but the concern should be the next fiscal, not this. So the investment momentum is continuing, but if interest rates continue to rise and the cost of capital goes up, you will see Indian corporates cutting back. But your survey also shows they're looking at both globally as well as locally, so which is not surprising again, because Indian corporates are acquiring a global footprint. Finally, this growth to me is going to be a jobless growth, because this is not coming out in manufacturing. This is coming up in services, which is not necessarily very employment friendly as opposed to manufacturing. So that should be an area of concern too.
That's a good point. Kavita, what's your sort of analysis of when the companies you spoke to, what's the pattern within that?
Yeah, so basically we also observed that services is more optimistic about expanding locally as well as, investments when we compared it with manufacturing. So yes, that's the point which emerged during our survey as well.
So that could be a point of worry, Mr. Dugal, because while you do represent services, but you have been in a sector which is funding manufacturing a lot. So is that a concern, especially now the government is talking of a manufacturing policy as well, but growth only in services and jobless growth?
I think manufacturing is a major challenge, but the finance minister, as I recall, did say that the goal is to move the share of manufacturing from 18% to 25%, which is a very ambitious goal, and I think all must be done to move us in that direction. Of course, we always sort of look around and compare ourselves to China, and look what wonders manufacturing has done for China, and I think we just have to do some of these basics right, and manufacturing growth has to be attained.
What is required, Anil, in your view? What is missing in the budget to push that manufacturing growth?
See, the budget, firstly, there can't be any short fix solutions to all the problems we discussed, which were in the survey too. It requires a structural response. So certainly to expect something in the budget in the next 6 months is being very unrealistic. But the tragedy of this budget is, like I said, talk is cheap. You've said all the right things. That you need to push manufacturing to 25%, you have to fight inflation, you have to fight corruption, but there's nothing in practice either in the short term or the medium term as a blueprint for action. I think that is where I think the budget fails.
But the funny thing is that this government has been in control for last so many years. This is the second term, middle of the second term. Why is it that they are not able to give the big picture and the vision which is expected of the people, of the intellect of the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, and of course the deputy chairman of the Planning Commission?
No, great question, because this is what we are all struggling with. You have an economist as a Prime Minister, like you said, you have an economist as the deputy chairman, Planning Commission, you have a seasoned politician as a Prime Minister, and they still lost their way. It's amazing.
Mr. Dugal, has the government lost its way? What would the corporate world want for the government to find its way back to make sure that the growth momentum, which is there on a natural sort of way, simply because of the sort of demand from the consuming economy, what else is needed?
I think they got the big things right. I think the main issue that was in my mind is, are they going to continue with that stimulus package which was put in place when economy was growth had become so low? They did not tinker with that, which shows that they are the fundamental things they are getting right. As I mentioned earlier, some of the reform agenda is being put in place. Now, one can nitpick with some of the details, but I think big picture they got it right.
Right. We'll look at the post-budget figures once again, and as we look at them, I'll put a quick question to Kavita. You know, the kind of expectations which have been met, but in your experience, when you look for a survey and an opinion, how long does that sentiment actually last?
Yeah, of course, no doubt about that. It is short term, as you know, we are covering the topic and we are meeting people then and there, and it's pretty reactive, of course. I mean, we can't deny that fact. But the interesting fact is that the people that we met are, you know, they have their strong point of views, and somehow they drive the point of view as well. So from looking from that point, those are the people who would not be looking at budget on day one when it is presented.
But perhaps the best aspect of the survey and opinion is the fact of the action that follows the opinion.
Yes.
Thanks very much, gentlemen, and Kavita, for being with us.
Thank you.
So we end this discussion on the fact that, yes, things are looking slightly better. It could have been far, far better if you asked corporate India. But as they say, because of the demand, expansion will go on, and they just hope that government gets its acts together and improve governance and, of course, tackles food inflation. Thanks for being with us.